They say every man remembers the exact moment his heart shatters. For me, it wasn't when I caught my wife cheating. It wasn't even when she handed me the divorce papers. No. It was when her two bulky brothers dragged me out of our house by my damn hair like I was some bum off the street. But let me rewind just a bit. It was Tuesday morning, and the sun was shining like nothing was wrong. I'd just come back from grabbing us both coffee. Something I'd done every morning for the last 8 years. Black for me. Almond milk and caramel syrup for her, because God forbid she drink anything that isn't designer-level sweet. Her name was Courtney. Yeah, sounds like a girl next door, but don't let that fool you. Courtney was the kind of woman who knew how to smile while holding a knife behind her back. I walked in through the front door, still half asleep, and there she was, dressed like she was about to shoot a music video. Tight red dress, 6-inch heels. Not a trace of sleep on her face. "Where are you going?" I asked, handing her the coffee. She didn't take it. "I need to talk to you," she said. Her voice was cold. Not angry, not sad, just vacant, like I was the waiter who forgot her appetizer. Then she slid a manila envelope across the table. "What's this?" I asked, cracking it open. I already knew it was bad. I felt it in my spine. Divorce papers. "Wait, what the hell is this?" "I'm done," she said, arms folded, eyes like stone. "I'm not happy. I haven't been for a long time. I'm tired of pretending." Pretending? I damn near dropped the coffee right there. Then she dropped the bomb. "I inherited $10.4 million last week after my aunt passed. I don't need you anymore. You can leave today." The coffee in my stomach turned to acid. Wait. Hold up. What do you mean I can leave? This is our house. I helped you renovate it. I painted those walls with my own hands. You're not taking anything from here. Nothing. That bag?" She pointed to the small duffel I'd started packing. "Leave it. I'm taking my clothes, Courtney. Don't be insane." "I said leave it," she screamed, like some psycho from a courtroom reality show. And then bam, the front door slammed open. Enter Logan and Chase. Her goon brothers. Bigger than I remembered. Built like they'd been drinking raw eggs and lifting tires in a prison yard. "This your idea of talking it out?" I muttered, but it was too late for talking. The next part happened fast. Logan grabbed the bag from my hand. I held on. Chase grabbed me from behind. I tried to twist free. I heard my shirt rip. I heard someone cuss. Then one of them got a handful of my damn hair and yanked hard. Next thing I knew, I was outside, on the damn lawn, barefoot, breathless, and boiling over with rage. Courtney stood in the doorway like some mafia boss. She actually smirked. "You'll regret this," I spat, pointing a shaky finger at her and her testosterone-fueled entourage. "All of you. You'll regret this more than you know." She just rolled her eyes like she'd heard it all before. Then she slammed the door. And that was that. Or at least they thought it was. Because what happened next? Well, let's just say nobody ever sees karma coming. 3 weeks before the divorce day, I started noticing cracks, like hairline fractures in what I thought was a strong marriage. Courtney had always been dramatic, sure. She liked being the center of attention and spending more money than we had. But something about her had changed. At first, it was small things. Her phone suddenly had a passcode. She started sleeping in silky nightgowns again after years of old t-shirts, and she began working late way too often, even though she worked remotely. The excuses were slick, but not smooth enough. One night, I woke up at 2 a.m. and she wasn't in bed. I walked into the kitchen, and there she was, whispering on the phone. She jumped when she saw me and fumbled with the screen. "Who are you talking to?" I asked. She didn't even blink. "My cousin. She's going through a breakup." "At 2 a.m.? She lives in Australia," she snapped, brushing past me. I should have asked more questions, but back then, I still wanted to believe her. I didn't want to become that guy, the paranoid husband who checks her texts while she's in the shower. But as the weeks passed, her lies got worse and bolder. I started keeping track. Call it a gut instinct or survival. I'm not a fool, no matter how she played me. She'd say she was with her friend Brittany. Brittany posted a photo from a spa day with her mom. Courtney wasn't in sight. Another time, she said she was stuck in traffic for an hour on the way home. But the traffic app showed a clear route. I casually asked her what street she got stuck on. She blinked. Thought for a second too long. Preston Boulevard. I checked. There was no Preston Boulevard in the city. That night I knew. She was cheating. And something deep in me cracked open. The man who once brought her coffee every morning, he started to vanish. In his place, a colder version of me was forming. Someone who needed answers and wasn't afraid of what he might find. So I did what she never expected. I looked through our shared iCloud. Yep, Courtney was too dumb to disable syncing. What I found punched the air out of my lungs. Pictures, messages, voice notes, all with some guy named Tyler. Shirtless mirror selfies from him. Flirty messages from her like, "You make me feel alive again," pleading face. And, "He doesn't touch me like you do." My stomach turned. The worst? A voice message from Courtney herself. "I'm stringing him along until I get the inheritance. After that, he's out. No prenup, no split. Just clean cut. I'll finally be free." Free? After everything I gave this woman? I closed the phone. Sat there, staring at the wall while my heart beat like a war drum. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat motionless, like I was standing at the edge of a cliff with no wind to catch me. I wasn't heartbroken yet. No, that would come later. Right now I was just stunned. My whole marriage had turned into some twisted performance, and I was the idiot playing the lead role in a tragedy I didn't write. But she didn't know what I knew. Not yet. And I wasn't going to show my cards. Not yet. Instead, I planned. I watched. I pretended to still be the clueless, boring husband. I kissed her goodnight. I cooked her favorite pasta. I even sent her roses to her office, because she thought she was in control. But the truth was, the show wasn't over, and the final act was going to burn. You never imagine the day you'll confront the woman you love and catch her looking at you like you're an inconvenience. But that day came. And when it did, it was like something in me finally snapped, clean and brutal. It was a Thursday evening. She came home late again, heels clicking on the hardwood like gunshots. Her lipstick was smudged, and she smelled like expensive cologne. Not the one I wear. I was sitting on the couch, drinking whiskey straight, the documents and screenshots open on my laptop. She barely looked at me. "You're still up?" she muttered, walking toward the kitchen. "You smell like another man, Courtney," I said calmly. She froze mid-step. That silence? It was the sound of someone realizing the mask just slipped. "What the hell are you talking about?" she fired back, voice sharp like a knife. I stood, turned the screen toward her. Pictures, chats, the voice message, everything. "You want to try again?" Her face changed. For a second, just a second, there was panic. But she smothered it fast. Her lips curled into this smug little grin like she'd been waiting for this moment. "Oh," she said, arms crossed. "So you've been snooping around like a little insecure bitch?" That hit like a slap. Not the words, the way she said them. Like I was trash for having the nerve to look after being played. "You've been lying to me for months," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "You're sleeping with some guy named Tyler. You said I don't touch you, right? That you're using me until the inheritance comes in?" "I heard it from your own mouth, Courtney." And still she shrugged. "You weren't enough, Mark. It's that simple. You got boring. Predictable. You wanted your nice little routine and coffee and cuddles like we're in some TV show. Meanwhile, I'm dying inside. You could have just left," I snapped. "But no, you stayed until you could get the money. Use me. Then dump me. You think I was going to split the money with you?" She laughed, cruel and loud. "Oh my God. You really thought you deserved any of it. This wasn't the woman I married. This was some cold, calculated version of her I hadn't seen before. Or maybe I had, and I just refused to see it." "Get out," I said, pointing to the door. She blinked, then smirked again. "Oh no, you're the one leaving." That's when she pulled out another envelope from her purse. Legal stamped. I opened it. My stomach dropped. Divorce papers. Effective immediately. "I inherited over $10 million, Mark. I don't need you anymore. You don't get a dime. You don't even get the damn couch. And I want you out tonight. You're serious? I asked, more numb than angry at that moment. Dead serious. And as I stood there, trying to understand how this became my life, she turned her back on me, walked toward the stairs, and tossed her last grenade. Oh, and when you're packing, don't touch a single thing in this house. Not one fork. Not one picture frame. You take your sad little man bag and leave. She climbed the stairs in slow, dramatic fashion, like she was proud. And I stood there. My hands were shaking. My jaw clenched. I'd never hated anyone in my life until that moment. But the thing about rage, it's a fuel. And it burns bright. Because if she thought she won, if she thought she'd just walk away with everything and leave me broken, she didn't know me at all. That I never expected to leave my own home like a damn criminal. After Courtney handed me the divorce papers, I locked myself in our bedroom for half an hour. Not to cry, those tears were long gone. I needed to calm the beast in my chest. I needed to think. She wasn't just ending our marriage. She was erasing me, like I'd never existed in her world. 10 years together, and now I wasn't even allowed to take my toothbrush. I stuffed my duffel bag with essentials. Underwear, a few shirts, socks, my wallet, phone charger, and my father's old watch. That watch was the only thing I really cared about. He gave it to me before he passed. The last thing that reminded me of what real love and sacrifice looked like. Something Courtney wouldn't understand if you tattooed it on her forehead. As I zipped the bag shut, I heard footsteps storming up the stairs. Heavy. Fast. The door burst open. Logan and Chase. Courtney's brothers. I hadn't seen them in years. Not since our wedding, actually. They never liked me, probably because I never bowed to their meathead ego trips. But now they looked at me like rabid dogs ready to pounce. What do you think you're doing, Mark? Logan growled. I'm leaving like your sister wanted, I replied, keeping my tone even. Just taking my stuff. Chase glanced at the bag. She said nothing leaves with you. I blinked. You've got to be joking. You don't want to make this harder than it needs to be, Logan said, cracking his knuckles like a cliché from a B-movie. I moved to step past them, but Chase blocked me. Drop the bag. No, I snapped. Then, in a flash, it got physical. Chase grabbed my arm, and Logan lunged for the strap of the bag. I yanked back, tried to wrestle it free, but they were bigger, stronger, and apparently not shy about using force. Next thing I knew, I was on the floor, someone's elbow pressed into my spine. The bag was ripped from my hands. You don't touch my stuff, I roared, but they didn't listen. Logan reached down, grabbed a fistful of my hair, and dragged me across the damn hallway like a rag doll. My scalp burned, my pride screamed, and my soul shattered. Courtney watched from the staircase, arms folded, smiling. I told you, she said sweetly. You're not taking anything, and if you try, I'll press charges. I'll make your life hell. They tossed me out the front door like a sack of garbage. I landed hard on the stone steps. My shoulder scraped, knee slammed. I looked up at the house we built, the windows we chose together, the porch we once sat on with coffee and dreams. And I realized it was all a lie, a beautiful, expensive lie. I stood up slowly. My heart was pounding, fists clenched. Logan tossed the duffel at my feet. Emptied. They dumped it all inside, scattered like trash. I picked up my father's watch from the lawn, cradled it in my palm like it was glass. Then I looked back at them. Her. I hope that money keeps you warm at night, I said, because when it turns to ash in your hands, and it will, you'll remember this moment. Courtney rolled her eyes. Spare me the drama. But I wasn't being dramatic. I was being deadly serious. You think this is over? I said, voice low. You think I'll just vanish? You have no idea what regret feels like yet, Courtney. But you will. All of you will. Then I turned, walked into the night, and left that cursed house behind me. But I didn't walk away broken. I walked away ready. I didn't sleep the night they threw me out. I sat in my car in some parking lot outside a 24-hour diner, still in the clothes they'd yanked and torn. My scalp ached where Logan had pulled my hair, and my shoulder was sore from hitting the concrete. But the worst pain wasn't physical. It was the cold, humiliating burn of betrayal. I looked in the rearview mirror and barely recognized the man staring back. That man was done being a victim. That night, something dark and quiet settled inside me. A fire. Not of rage, not even revenge. No strategy. I stopped thinking with my heart and started thinking like a man who had nothing left to lose. And that's when the burn plan started forming. I didn't want her back. Hell no. I didn't want an apology. I didn't even care about the money anymore. What I wanted was to make her feel the sting of everything she dished out. I knew Courtney. I knew how to hit her where it hurt. Not with fists. She'd play the victim in court like she was born for it. No, the real damage would come from what she valued most. Status, reputation, and control. She inherited $10 million. But what she didn't know was how deep my fingerprints were in her life, bank accounts, real estate decisions, even her own business registrations. She was careless with paperwork, always letting me handle the boring money stuff. Mistake number 1. So I started there. I checked the records from the shared investment account we opened 5 years ago. Guess what? She never removed me as a secondary. She thought I was too stupid or too tame to even check it. $670,000 was sitting there. Hers? Legally, yes. But accessible? For now, also me. Mistake number 2. Then came the emails. Courtney never bothered changing her passwords. I'd set most of them up, including for her business email, the same one she used for brand deals, affiliate marketing contracts, and most importantly, her new life with Tyler. A few hours later, I was going through dozens of messages. There were dirty texts, flirtatious exchanges, and the occasional pathetic, "You're different than him, face-blowing a kiss" lines. Typical stuff from people who think lust is love. But one email thread caught my attention. It was from a luxury condo broker in Miami. She and Tyler were planning to buy a place together once the divorce was finalized. And guess who she planned to use as the proof of income on the application? Me. Well, the tax returns filed jointly under my name. Mistake number 3. She wanted to erase me, but she was still using me as a stepping stone. Courtney was playing a dangerous game, and now I had enough ammo to take the whole table down. But I didn't want to just blow things up right away. No, I wanted her to sweat, to squirm, to panic. So I sent her a text. Short, cold, simple. "I hope you read the fine print." Smiling face with smiling eyes. No reply for 5 minutes. Then, "Courtney, what the F does that mean?" Me? "You'll find out." She called twice. I didn't answer. I could already picture her pacing, manicured nails tapping her phone, realizing for the first time that I wasn't broken. I was dangerous. She wanted to play dirty? I was about to rewrite the rulebook. This wasn't revenge. It was justice. A slow, methodical dissection of the empire she thought she built alone. And the best part? She never saw it coming. I gave her 48 hours. Not out of kindness, but because anticipation is a crueler punishment than any slap to the face. In that time, I didn't sleep much, but I was busy, setting things in motion, tying the noose around her carefully curated life. Courtney had spent years building her brand, some self-proclaimed lifestyle coach on Instagram, always posting about self-worth and feminine energy and cutting out toxic people. Yeah. Real rich coming from a woman who cheated on her husband, stole his life, then had him dragged out like garbage. It was Saturday morning when the first domino dropped. I uploaded a private video to a burner account. No name, no tags, just the raw truth. A screen capture video showing a full walkthrough of Courtney's phone cloud sync. The messages with Tyler. The voice memo where she admitted to using me for money. The joint account records. The Miami condo application that listed my income. No edits. No commentary. Just cold evidence. I sent the link to 3 places. Her brand sponsors. The private Facebook group she ran with 20,000 female followers. Her mother. And I waited. Within 2 hours, her phone started blowing up. I know because I still had her number connected to an old iPad we kept in storage. She never unlinked it. Her notifications lit up like wildfire. Email from Glow Mist Cosmetics. We're suspending your partnership until further notice. Message from her Facebook moderator team. What the hell is this? Are you kidding us? Text from her mom. Is any of this true? Call me right now. It was beautiful. I didn't stop there. I filed a temporary injunction with a lawyer friend I'd known since college. He worked fast and owed me a favor. The goal? Freeze the joint account, the one with $670,000 in it. By Monday, she wouldn't be able to touch a dime. That afternoon, she finally called me. I picked up because I wanted to hear the panic in her voice. Mark, she snapped. What the hell did you do? Justice, I replied calmly. You're ruining my life. No, Courtney, I said, smiling to myself. You ruined your life. I just made sure everyone else saw it. She was breathing hard, furious. You have no right. None. I'll sue you for defamation. Try it. I'll countersue with every email, screenshot, and voice memo I've saved. Do you really want all this on legal record? Silence. You played me, I continued. You humiliated me. You sicked your steroid gorillas on me. And you thought I'd roll over and cry in a motel somewhere. I just wanted to move on. No. You wanted everything. Money, status, freedom, and none of the consequences. She switched tactics, her voice softening like fake velvet. We don't have to make this ugly, Mark. Maybe we can work something out. I almost laughed. Now she wanted to talk terms. You had your chance to talk, I said. You chose war. Click. She didn't call again. But later that night, someone else did, Tyler. His number showed up on the iPad. I guess Courtney had finally told him who I was. His voicemail was a masterpiece of insecure male energy. Yo, man, I don't know what your problem is, but if you ever come near Courtney again, we're gonna have a serious issue. I saved it, just in case. Tyler had no idea who he was dealing with. I wasn't fighting to win her back. I was fighting to make sure people like her and him never forget what it feels like to betray someone who gave you everything. And guess what? I was just getting started. Courtney thought the worst was over. She thought the scandal would blow over, that with enough time and filtered Instagram stories, she could patch it all back together. She underestimated just how far I was willing to go. She'd already lost sponsorships, followers, and credibility. But that was just the public fallout. The personal hit? That was next. I didn't want just temporary damage. I wanted her whole illusion of control shattered. And I knew exactly where to strike next. The inheritance. See, the $10.4 million she'd received from her aunt's estate wasn't as clean as she thought. It was tied up in real estate, bonds, and distributions through a family trust that had some very specific terms I'd discovered during our time managing her finances together. I still had access to the legal files buried in the old shared Google Drive she forgot to lock. Turns out, part of the trust had a moral clause. If the recipient was found guilty of marital fraud, adultery during the course of marriage, or financial manipulation against a spouse, the trustee could freeze future payouts. That clause had never mattered before. Until now. I sent an anonymous tip and full documentation, screenshots, her voice note, a legal summary of her affair and asset manipulation, to her aunt's estate attorney. I didn't even have to wait a full day. By Monday morning, her phone was blowing up again, this time with a much different tone. Text from Courtney, "You're a psychopath. Do you even realize what you've done?" Voicemail, shaky, frantic. "Mark, please, we need to talk. They're freezing the disbursements. I didn't know it worked like this. They said they need to review everything. Please, can we just talk?" No, we were long past talk. Instead, I dropped by the house one last time. Not to beg, not to confront her. I wasn't even angry anymore. I just wanted to watch the fallout up close. She didn't answer the door at first, so I waited across the street in my car. A few minutes later, I saw Tyler pull up in his shiny white BMW, the one she probably helped pay for. But instead of greeting him, Courtney stormed out, phone in hand, yelling. I rolled down the window just enough to hear them. "You told me this would be clean," she hissed. "I didn't know he had access to all this crap." Tyler shot back. "You said he was spineless. Yeah, well, apparently he grew one. She slapped the phone into his chest. They're freezing the money, Tyler. The trust fund money. I can't even get access to the condo deposit. Do you realize what this means? I could lose everything. Tyler looked like a guy who'd just realized his sugar mama's wallet was about to dry up. His eyes shifted, and he stepped back like she was contagious. Then I saw it, that flicker of panic in Courtney's eyes. She wasn't just angry anymore. She was scared. I could have gotten out of the car right then, said something, made a scene. But I didn't. I just watched. Tyler turned, muttered something under his breath, and drove off. She stood there, alone on the driveway, arms crossed, jaw trembling. No camera filters, no staged lighting, no followers to adore her. Just a woman who played with fire and finally felt the burn. I drove away without saying a word. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about closure. And seeing her like that, powerless for once in her life, that was more satisfying than any courtroom settlement or cash payout could ever be. It's been 6 months since the day they dragged me out of the house by my hair. 6 months since Courtney thought she could erase me from her life and walk away with millions. A new boy toy and a clean slate. Spoiler, nothing stayed clean. The trust locked her out after a full investigation. Turns out, once they verified the voice note, emails, and financial deception, the remaining $7 million in distributions were legally withheld. She tried to appeal, of course. Cried in front of the lawyers, blamed emotional pressure, and painted herself as a misunderstood victim. But evidence doesn't lie, and Courtney? Well, she did that too often. Tyler stuck around for a couple more weeks. Long enough to realize that no more Miami condo, no more designer upgrades, and no more private chef lifestyle meant he was going to be eating frozen burritos and listening to Courtney rant about injustice for the rest of his days. He was gone by week 3. The best part? I didn't have to lift a finger for that. Courtney's own personality handled it. Her online presence crumbled. Sponsors didn't want the drama. Followers left in waves. Word got out about what she did, and no amount of half-hearted apologies or staged, healing journey posts could put the pieces back together. She still has money, sure. The original portion of the trust couldn't be touched retroactively, so she wasn't left penniless. But the lifestyle she thought she was upgrading to, that golden escalator to freedom, gone. Meanwhile, I got my own place. Small apartment, nothing fancy, but clean, quiet, and mine. I started therapy, joined a gym, reconnected with friends I'd pushed away during the chaos of the marriage. I even started freelancing again. Turns out, when you're not carrying someone else's image 24/7, you actually have time to breathe. The funny thing is, I don't miss her. Not even a little. I miss the idea of what I thought we had, the dream I was sold. I miss the version of her I believed in. But Courtney, the real one, I don't think that woman ever loved me. And that's a hard truth for any man to swallow. To look back and realize that maybe you were just a stepping stone. Convenience. Someone to hold the phone while she took the selfies. But you know what? You survive it. You grow teeth. You grow a spine. And eventually you stop being angry, not because you forgive them, but because they're just not worth the wait. People ask me if I'd ever go back to her. If she called tomorrow, said all the right words, cried all the right tears. Not a chance in hell. That woman showed me who she is. And when someone shows you their true face, you don't try to put the mask back on. You walk away and you don't look back. Now, if I have any advice for someone reading this, some other guy who might be going through something similar, it's this: trust your gut. When something feels off, it is. Don't ignore the signs. Don't explain away lies just because you want the fantasy to stay alive. Love isn't supposed to confuse you. Real love doesn't leave you questioning your worth, your sanity, or your place in someone's life. If they make you feel small, like you're disposable, walk away. Because there's peace in being alone that you'll never find in the arms of someone who secretly wishes you'd disappear. And as for me, I'm not bitter. I'm not broken. I'm rebuilding. And this time, the foundation is solid.